Tech Mahindra sees muted revenue growth in the third quarter. Although margin expands more than projected, the management says they have started seeing signs of pressure in the European and American markets. FTSE says Adani Index constituents will remain eligible in line with the index methodologies, adds that it will continue to monitor information on the group company, especially by the Indian market regulators. BPCL's third quarter numbers beat estimates led by refining segments. Volumes too come in higher than expected. The stock surges 3%. Laurus Labs correction continues after its third quarter numbers as brokerages cut estimates on the stock. Fusion Microfinance, on the other hand, surges about 6% as brokerage house CLSA initiates a buy call on the stock with a target price of 550 rupees per share. Mangalore Chemicals sees profits double in the third quarter. Stock is higher by about 4%.
Hello and welcome to Chartbusters. I'm Nigel D'Souza and joining me as always is Mangala Malu. Well, I think we had some news that was flashing for you on the screen that Vedanta, now they may not be looking to sell their Tuticorin copper smelter. To just give you a brief view on that. Well, as it is, that smelter was shut and unlikely that anyone would be interested to buy a smelter that's already in so much of trouble. So as of now, that's not something that really moves the stock too much. Though the report suggests that they're in talks with some of those workers and villagers out there to restart the operations. As it is, as a percentage of SOTP, it is a very, very small proportion, and it's been shut for the last few years.
All right, Nigel, thanks for bringing that clarification on Vedanta itself. Stock up about 2.5% odd. But for the markets, it's interesting the way it's moving. You know, it opened well and then we saw a bit of a sell-off. And from the lows, we've seen a bit of a recovery for the Nifty itself, closing in on that 17,600 mark. What's interesting is that over the last couple of trading sessions, that 17,550 sort of zone has been an important support, which is also the 200-day exponential moving average. And what differentiates today from yesterday is the way the mid-cap index is performing. Yesterday, the mid-cap index was lower in line with the frontline indices. And today, we have the mid-cap index, which is higher by about 0.8% as we speak at the high point of trade, with nearly 5 stocks advancing for every 2 stocks which are declining. The Nifty Bank too outperforming, just about breaking into the green as we speak at the flat line. So that's about the way the market has been right now. But we do have a lot of earnings to watch out for. Transport Corp is one of them on our radar. We will be shortly joined by the management of the company. But before that, it is also the budget session tomorrow. So we'll probably get in visuals of the Prime Minister addressing the media ahead of the budget session as well. So we'll try and get you footage of that as that happens too. But we do have with us the management of Transport Corp. Saw a decent quarter with revenue growth in excess of 15%. However, margins were hit by fall in international freight rates in the Seaways business, and that saw an EBIT decline of 15%. Vineet Agarwal, who's the managing director at the company, joins in now. Vineet, thank you so much for joining in. First up, just wanted a few pedantic details. If you could give us a sense of your revenue breakup in terms of volumes and realizations across all your verticals and the outlook for the fourth quarter.
So revenue growth in all the businesses was quite robust. I think, post Diwali, things tend to slow down a bit, and which is reflected typically in quarter three, because quarter two is when the stocking takes place for Diwali and the festive season. But yes, freight business did reasonably well with a top line growth of almost 15%. The supply chain business did quite well with more than, for a 9-month, almost 25% growth. This is clearly in line with where automotive logistics has grown quite a lot. As we know that with the chip shortage, we saw a slowdown in the automotive sector, which has come back quite strongly in quarter two and as well as quarter three. The Seaways business, actually revenues went up, even though we did not have
Vineet, most of what you're telling us, we have that in the numbers. We want to understand what's the outlook from here on. So for quarter four, what kind of a number are you looking at in terms of, you could guide us in terms of revenues, or you want to put a volume number out there? And for FY24 as well, if you could give us a brief guidance. Please go ahead.
And also, just to add to that, Vineet, the volume breakup. We have the revenue growth. We just wanted volume growth for the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so for us, it's not very easy to define volume, because volume is specific to the number of cars we moved or number of containers we moved. However, we do see that the
2023 का वर्ष आज बजट सत्र का प्रारंभ हो रहा है और प्रारंभ में ही अर्थ जगत के जिनकी आवाज को मान्यता होती है, वैसी आवाज चारों तरफ से सकारात्मक संदेश लेकर के आ रही है। आशा की किरण लेके आ रही है, उमंग का आगाज लेकर के आ रही है। आज एक महत्वपूर्ण अवसर है। भारत के वर्तमान राष्ट्रपति जी की आज पहली ही संयुक्त सदन को वो संबोधित करने जा रही है। राष्ट्रपति जी का भाषण भारत के संविधान का गौरव है, भारत की संसदीय प्रणाली का गौरव है और विशेष रूप से आज नारी सम्मान का भी अवसर है और दूर सुदूर जंगलों में जीवन बसर करने वाले हमारे देश के महान आदिवासी परंपरा के सम्मान का भी अवसर है। न सिर्फ सांसदों को, लेकिन आज पूरे देश के लिए गौरव का पल है कि भारत के वर्तमान राष्ट्रपति जी का आज पहला उद्बोधन हो रहा है और हमारे संसदीय कार्य में गत 6-7 दशक से जो परंपराएं विकसित हुई हैं, उन परंपराओं में देखा गया है कि अगर कोई भी नया सांसद जब पहली बार सदन में बोलने के लिए खड़ा होता है तो किसी भी दल का क्यों न हो, जो पहली बार बोलता है तो पूरा सदन उनको सम्मानित करता है, उनका आत्मविश्वास बढ़े उस प्रकार से एक सानुकूल वातावरण तैयार करता है। एक उज्जवल और उत्तम परंपरा है। आज राष्ट्रपति जी का उद्बोधन भी पहला उद्बोधन है। सभी सांसदों की तरफ से उमंग, उत्साह और ऊर्जा से भरा हुआ आज का ये पल हो, ये हम सबका दायित्व है। मुझे विश्वास है हम सभी सांसद इस कसौटी पर खरे उतरेंगे। हमारी देश की वित्त मंत्री भी महिला हैं। वे कल और एक बजट लेकर के देश के सामने आ रही है। आज के वैश्विक परिस्थिति में भारत के बजट के तरफ न सिर्फ भारत का लेकिन पूरे विश्व का ध्यान है। डावाडोल विश्व की आर्थिक परिस्थिति में भारत का बजट भारत के सामान्य मानवी की आशा आकांक्षाओं को तो पूरा करने का प्रयास करेगा ही, लेकिन विश्व जो आशा की किरण देख रहा है उसे वो और अधिक प्रकाशमान नजर आए। मुझे पूरा भरोसा है निर्मला जी इन अपेक्षाओं को पूर्ण करने के लिए भरपूर प्रयास करेगी। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेतृत्व में एनडीए सरकार, उसका एक ही मकसद रहा है, एक ही मोटो रहा है, एक ही लक्ष्य रहा है और हमारी कार्य संस्कृति के केंद्र बिंदु में भी एक ही विचार रहा है, इंडिया फर्स्ट, सिटीजन फर्स्ट। सबसे पहले देश, सबसे पहले देशवासी, उसी भावना को आगे बढ़ाते हुए ये बजट सत्र में भी तकरार भी रहेगी, लेकिन तकरीर भी तो होनी चाहिए। और मुझे विश्वास है कि हमारे विपक्ष के सभी साथी बड़ी तैयारी के साथ, बहुत बारीकी से अध्ययन करके सदन में अपनी बात रखेंगे। सदन देश के नीति निर्धारण में बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से चर्चा करके अमृत निकालेगा, जो देश को काम आएगा। मैं फिर एक बार आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं, बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। धन्यवाद।
All right, so that was Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressing the media ahead of the budget session of the Parliament. Today, of course, there will be an address by the President, her first address, a joint address to both the houses. At the same time, then there will be the budget, which will be conducted tomorrow. But today, we have the economic survey as well. This is also the last full year budget by this government ahead of the 2024 elections. So, the speech of the Prime Minister slightly extended, talking about the motives of the government itself. With that, we will take a short break, but continue our conversation with TCI Express on the other side of this short break. Apologies, Vineet, we had to cut in for that. Just take a short break, come back, we will continue our conversations with you. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the markets itself. Then 300 points uptick on the mid-cap index. We do have the Nifty Bank up about 1/3% as well. There is a formidable recovery from the lows. But let's continue our conversation with Transport Corporation of India. Vineet Agarwal is still with us. Vineet, apologize for the break once again, but could you give us a sense, for demand going ahead? 10 to 15% is the revenue and the profit growth guidance that you had given for this year. You hold on to that. For the next year, if one had to hazard a growth estimate, what would that be?
Actually, volume growth has been quite good. And as I said, automotive sector is also doing reasonably well. Container movement is also quite robust. So the FY24 growth numbers are also looking at least a 10 to 15% on the top line and the similar on the bottom line. There is, of course, a little bit of a headwinds from a global recession perspective, where there could be some impact on exports. And also, but one thing is very clear, and what was also just mentioned by the Honorable Prime Minister, is that there is going to be, the budget will definitely focus on growth. There is absolutely a need for logistics sector to grow. And one of the ways it will grow is capex into infrastructure. And that has been the mainstay of the budget last year. And I do expect it to happen this year as well. It has a trickle-down effect. And as a country, we need to bring down our logistics cost, specifically move it to multimodal logistics. And that's also our company strategy, where we do road, rail, sea, logistics, and we are seeing growth in all sectors.
So in that case, what do you think would your medium-term revenue mix move to? Because as we speak right now, freight accounts for about half of your revenues. A smaller contribution comes in from seaways, where you believe that, cost of acquiring a ship is extremely expensive right now. And then you have supply chain solutions. How does this revenue mix change in the next, say, foreseeable future?
So next 2 to 3 years, I don't expect it to change dramatically. I think this will continue. You have to see that all our businesses are delivering more than 20% ROCE. The freight business is actually delivering more than 25% ROCE. So the business is still quite robust. It doesn't have any major capex also requirements, only working capital requirements. So I think this mix will remain more or less the same in the next 2 to 3 years, but the quality of the business is improving, and hence the margins will also improve in the next 2 to 3 years.
You want to give us a margin outlook out there, Vineet? It'll improve to what levels or by what quantum?
So the 15% that we are committing in terms of a guidance, I think that's the kind of a growth that we'll see year on year for the next 3 years at a CAGR level.
That's at the profit level, right?
That's right.
So EBITDA margins then would be maintained at current levels of around 12 to 13%, or is that tending towards 15% as well?
No, EBITDA doesn't need to grow to that extent for the profitability to grow at that level. So EBITDA could be at that 10-12%, but with volume growth as well as the fact that we don't have any debt on our books, we should help to keep up the growth.
And quickly before we let you go, you had an 80 crore target coming in for your cold chain business in FY23. The first 9 months you've done about 45, 46 odd crores out there. Do you still hold on to that guidance, and what level does it go to in the next year?
Cold chain business is actually, we have rejigged our portfolio over there, and we've reduced some exposure to e-commerce related cold chain. But yes, so the business will come down. The guidance will not hold for this year. But next year, definitely we're looking at that 80 crores to 100 crores kind of a top line. It's a joint venture with an international company.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for stopping by, Vineet, and filling us in with all those details. Looking forward to having a chat with you in the coming quarters as well. Well, let's move on then, and let's focus on the metal space. Imphal is the company on our radar. We're currently joined by Mr. Subrakant Panda, the managing director of the company. Hi, Mr. Panda. Always good speaking to you, sir. We have a big budget coming up, and you're donning various hats nowadays. So I've heard your opinion in terms of what you expect for the industries. But let's focus on the company. The past quarter was a little bit of a softish quarter, actually. Your volume growth was solid, high teens coming in there, but it appears that realizations were under pressure. Now, just a rough number that I'm driving, it appears that the realizations per ton came down to around 95,000 rupees per ton from around 105,000 in the previous quarter. That's on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Could you clarify what went on? Was there such a sharp reduction in realizations, and what's the outlook given that China is reopened now? Mr. Panda, I think you're on mute. You know, if
Good morning, Nigel. Always a pleasure talking to you, because I think you know almost as much about the business I do. And yes, I think you've got your facts right. But, you know, it was definitely a very challenging quarter because realizations were fairly soft. And even though raw material prices corrected, but prices corrected as well. And our average realization during the quarter was around 93, a little more than 93,000. So that did affect margins substantially, and there were several reasons for that. As I said, you know, I think the third quarter overall was quite soft because the zero COVID policy continued in China longer than one expected it to, and besides that, we also had to liquidate some tonnage in the spot market, which brought down our realizations. And as a result of that, the numbers are what they are. But having said that, what stood us in very good stead is of course, the fact that we are a fully integrated business and zero long-term debt on the books. And some of the one-time impact that we had in the immediate preceding quarter were not there. And therefore, we managed to...
Mr. Panda, could you give us a sense of the average expected realizations in the fourth quarter and what they were in the third quarter?
So as I said, third quarter average realization was about 93,000. And going ahead, I think we're going to end the year on a high because with China opening up, there is substantial movement upwards in metal prices, and ferrochrome is no exception.
Okay.
So we are already, I think there's been quite a steady increase in prices in China, which are now around the 107 cents mark or so. So while January realizations were a little muted leading up to the Lunar New Year holidays, but February and March are going to be substantially higher. We are expecting realizations to cross about 110,000 rupees per ton. Like I said, somewhere between 105 to 110 cents. And costs have pretty much peaked out. And you know, if you go back to our previous conversations, costs really were at their peak in Q2.
Yes.
Corrected in Q3, but prices corrected as well. But now we are again in a situation where costs are correcting a little bit more, and prices are picking back up, and therefore we will see a good end to the financial year.
Okay.
And the outlook for FY24 is quite good as well because. As I said, China opening up is a very big positive. Everything, whether it's ferrochrome or even nickel, has moved up about 30% in the last month and a half. And not to mention a sharp increase in electricity tariffs in South Africa by about 18%. The winter tariffs will go up by 18% starting April. So that is going to provide a boost to realizations as well.
All right, Mr. Panda, and as per your commentary, China reopening in South Africa, the electricity rates are quite high as well. So you're expecting Q4 to be far better. Given that realizations are going to move up, what should the margin outlook be? I mean, in this quarter, it's around the 10% odd mark. And on an absolute number, the EBITDA number is around 60, 70 crores. Where do you see that number headed? For Q4, it's going to improve quite a bit. So what's the rough number on margins as well as on the absolute EBITDA number?
So EBITDA number for Q4, we expect it to be close to 100 crores. And depending on how spot prices play out, I think there is a possibility that we can go, touch the 3-figure mark. And going ahead, we do expect EBITDA margins, which had come down to about 10%, to move back closer to the 18 to 20% mark, and that will add substantially to our profitability going ahead. Right. And do keep in mind that I think. Sorry, go ahead.
100 crores of EBITDA in the fourth quarter is what you're guiding for, and from the 10% mark, it may go to around 18 to 20% on a steady state. And this is a question that we ask you every time you join us, Mr. Panda. Earlier, it was when will you receive the money from the Utkal C block? And now that you've received about 20 crore, how much more is pending? I believe about 350 crores is what you stand to receive from them. By when do you receive the remainder? What's the run rate there?
Okay. So the good news about Utkal Coal, as you correctly said, is that the first tranche of payments towards statutory expenses incurred by us has come in. So there is no longer any doubt about the process of reallocation of the coal block. We expect the valuation report for land and other things to be finalized in the next couple of months, and therefore Q1 of FY24 is when we expect the balance money to come in. And we do expect, like I said, I think on the books we have about close to 370 crores, and that's roughly what we expect to come in. So that will, of course, add substantially to our cash kitty and enable our expansion plans. Because keep in mind that FY24 is the year we kick off our expansion plans with about 150 crores budgeted for our to be spent during the year for our ferrochrome expansion project, as well as the underground mining expansion, which will take our output from the current 6 lakh tons to about 7.5, 8 lakh tons.
Okay, all right. Always good hearing your thoughts, Mr. Panda. Thanks so much for joining and giving us your view on IMFA and the outlook ahead. And we'll be chatting up with you, I think, in the next 48 hours or so to get your view on what the budget 2023 has to offer as well. Slip into a short break. Come back. We'll continue our focus on the markets.